What's up, Says So Squad and Scandalites? This is Ashley with Ashley Says So, and I am back with another Old Hollywood Scandal video. And before y'all get to being messy, this current segment of Old Hollywood Scandals that I have been doing goes from people who were in the industry from the 1970s and earlier. And Tisha Campbell was a full-blown industry actress in the 1970s. So let's go ahead and get to the video on Miss Gina, honey, and pull up all these juicy rumors and gossip from back in the day after this disclaimer. All of my videos are for entertainment purposes. Everything in them is rumor, gossip, and scandal that I get from books, word of mouth, on TV. Let's get to it. Tisha Michelle Campbell was born on October the 13th, 1968 in or around Newark, New Jersey. Her mother's name was Hattie Mona Washington, and her father's name was Clifton Campbell. And Tisha had at least 3 half-siblings. Now, Tisha's childhood was supposed to be a happy one, but unfortunately, around the age of 3 years old, she was assaulted by a male babysitter. Now, I'm not sure if this assault was ongoing or just a one-time thing, but what I am sure of is Tisha must have breathed a sigh of relief when she was introduced to an activity that took her away from her home most of the time, and that activity was acting. As a matter of fact, when Tisha was only 6 years old, she appeared in her first TV show. That show was called The Big Blue Marble. And Tisha was such a natural that she soon appeared on the Unicorn Tales. She also appeared in Captain Kangaroo. And when Tisha wasn't singing and dancing on somebody's TV screen, her parents were entering her into all type of talent competitions, and she was winning them. And so this right here boosted her reputation around entertainment circles even more. Now, by the time Tisha was 17, her talent was developed enough that she was chosen to appear in her first feature film, which was a musical called Little Shop of Horrors. And this was one of, if not her first appearance with her best friend, Tichina Arnold. Gossip claims both girls had so much fun on this film, and Tisha had so much fun that immediately after she graduated high school, she picked up and moved to Hollywood. And immediately, homegirl hit the ground running. By the late 1980s, she had appeared in Rags to Riches. She was in School Days. She was in Rooftops. And she was just getting started. By the time the 1990s came around, she had booked movie roles alongside Eddie Murphy in the film Another 48 Hours and also in the film Boomerang. Then she made audiences take note of her dance skills in the movie House Party. And there are many more roles that are worth mentioning, but I'm going to go ahead and talk about the role that made Tisha Campbell a star in many of our eyes. And that was her role as Gina Waters on the Martin Lawrence Show. Tisha Campbell was just made for this role. And of course, this was in the 90s, so she was in a time period where all of the love interests were light, bright, almost white. But with Tisha, that's not all she was in her role. She really brought a lot of depth to her character. Her character was really down to earth and funny. You know, she had that gorgeous smile, that high-pitched voice, that quick wit, and most of all, her big, skippy, scooped-up balloon head made audiences love her. She was just the prime pick and the best choice that the Martin Lawrence Show could have ever made. And this is why so many people had so many problems with how the show ended. But in order to get into that, we gotta get into what we came here for. The scandal, child. The scandal. Let's get to it. Now, some of the earliest known rumors and scandals about Tisha Campbell was dealing with Martin Lawrence himself. Story says Tisha and Martin first met on the set of House Party. And at first, it was all laughs and giggles. Martin was cool, he was funny. Tisha was laid back and easy to get along with. And it probably was her laid back demeanor that started the next phase of things, because Martin actually started to like Tisha. Said he would flirt with her on set all day and all night, wanting to get her number, wanting to become her man. But the folks say that Tisha at this point in time was not interested. So they said that Martin told her, just you wait. You're going to be my girl one day. I'm going to make you my girlfriend. But after wrapping up the shoot for the House Party movies, they went their separate ways. Then the year 1992 came around and Martin Lawrence was a rising star. The boy had signed a deal for his own TV show, and he wanted Tisha Campbell to play his love interest. Per the 1994 interview that Martin and Tisha did, Martin actually called Tisha on the phone to ask her personally, hey, I got my own show. I want you to play my girlfriend. And initially, Tisha told him no. She didn't want to do comedy. She wanted to start her career being a dramatic actress. But I guess one of her auditions fell through or something like that, because gossip claims just a few days later, she called Martin back telling him, please don't give that role to nobody else. I'll be your girlfriend. And so this is how Tisha Campbell became Miss Gina Waters-Payne. Now, the folks say that the first year and a half, maybe even the first 2 years was just picking up where they left off. You know what I'm saying? Martin was still trying to flirt with Tisha. Tisha wasn't giving in easily, but I guess playing these two characters that were so emotionally invested in each other and so handsy with each other, I guess that started to translate into real life, because rumor has it by the year 1994, Tisha Campbell and Martin Lawrence were definitely physically intimate with each other. And some people look at it like Tisha was actually really interested in Martin, and she was really enjoying herself. Then you have another group of people that look at it like Tisha was giving him sympathy TT. You know what I'm saying? That she somehow felt obligated to mess around or sleep with him because of the chance that he gave her to be on his show. Whichever one of these is true, by the time 1995 came around, allegedly Tisha and Martin were still sleeping around with each other, but by now she had gotten really serious with another young actor by the name of Duane Martin. And this wasn't no plaything or no throwaway thing. Gossip claims that Tisha was really head over heels for Duane Martin. And I don't know if she thought it was because Duane Martin was cuter and smoother than Martin Lawrence, or maybe she even thought that Duane Martin was going to be a bigger star than Martin Lawrence. I don't know what it was, but gossip claims that Martin Lawrence did not like the fact that Tisha Campbell was in a relationship with Duane Martin. In fact, it's alleged that he always had something smart to say about it. Asking Tisha stuff like, why you like this dude? Why you want him? He lame. He ain't nobody. And Martin was saying and asking these things because he legit wanted to know. Because see, Marty Marr was blowing up in 1995. Not only did he have his hit show, he had done primetime comedy specials. Also, his new hit movie Bad Boys had came out. So Martin was feeling like, baby, here go the star right here. I'm the star. That dude ain't nobody. Why do you want him over me? And maybe Martin in his mind had a valid point, but not for real. Because while he was sitting up there mad at Tisha messing around with Duane, he also had been messing around with other people. As a matter of fact, he was dating Lark Voorhees that whole time that he and Tisha had been messing around. Not only that, by the year 1995, he had a new woman on his arm, Miss Philadelphia, Patricia Southall. So it was a weird dynamic, and it almost just seemed like Martin Lawrence wanted his cake and he wanted to eat it too. But whatever the case, even with Martin Lawrence talking down on Duane Martin, acting like Duane Martin wasn't nothing, it still didn't matter. Tisha still wanted Duane Martin. And really, this might be the reason that Martin Lawrence chose to go ahead and marry Patricia Southall. But here's the thing. Per gossip, even after Martin married Patricia Southall, and even though Tisha and Duane were close and a couple at this time, stories on these old Hollywood streets say Martin Lawrence and Tisha Campbell were still messing around. And this laid the foundation for a huge blow up, because gossip claims that in the year 1996, when Tisha got married to Duane Martin, that is when she wanted to cut off messing with Martin Lawrence completely. And this was rumored to have set Martin Lawrence off on a rampage. Because first of all, Tisha is denying him access to her body. And secondly, she's doing it only because she got married. Rumor has it that Martin started behaving in a way of, oh, so that's how it is? You were still throwing me to Ussy even after I married Pat, but now that you married Duane, you want to cut me off? You ain't care about my wife, but I'm supposed to care about your little husband? And because of this, the folks say that Martin's hatred of Duane Martin intensified. So he'll be walking around set and he'll be like, hey, Tisha, I seen your little punk ass husband. Or maybe he'll say little stuff like, I know he ain't hitting it right, because he ain't got the juice like old Marty Moore. So you might as well bring that cat back on over here to me. Jess was always picking, you know what I'm saying? Always had something to say to her. And by this time, Martin was said to be on drugs too. So that really ramped up his behavior. As a matter of fact, it's claimed while he was doing all of these drugs, he wasn't only talking to Tisha Campbell any kind of way, baby, he was talking to all of the cast any kind of way. Acting like he made them, you know what I'm saying? And he could just fire them at the drop of a dime. He coming in with bodyguards. Just was doing too much. He had gotten too full of himself. He was getting too big for his own good. And so anyway, to continue talking about the Tisha Campbell part of it, now that Martin was on these drugs, the folks say that he became very aggressive, very handsy, very trying to make her want him. Sometimes he would corner her. I'm the one you should be with, Tisha. Man, you know it. I don't know why you playing. Always trying to get hugs and rubs. And then the folks say that when Martin discovered that he couldn't get hugs, kisses, and rubs off camera, baby, the folks say that he started trying to get it on camera. They say a lot of them kisses and hugs between the Gina character and the Martin character in season 5 wasn't even supposed to happen. Matter of fact, what I think was the first episode of season 5 was a scene where they were in bed up under the cover. And per word on the streets, while they were up under the cover, Martin Lawrence's hands were doing all type of stuff to Tisha Campbell. And y'all, I kid y'all not, I got to say something right here while we're talking about Martin's alleged behavior. So anyway, for the research for this video, I was going back and watching episodes from season 5, right? Honey, on season 5, episode 2, which was an episode called Back in Trouble Again, I ain't gonna lie, I saw some stuff that kind of made me disturbed. I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, on that episode, it's a part he's supposed to be walking to the stage to give Gina a kiss or something like that. Baby, why come it seemed like on that part that Martin had improvised it so he can end up falling on his knees by the time he got to Gina in order to sniff her up? Listen, I know it's messy, and it may not be nothing. It's just that I was researching and reading all this stuff. It just, the wheels was turning in my head. But anyway, regardless of if Martin had planned to sniff it up or not, like I said, by this time, the folks say that he was doing inappropriate things in front of the camera because he could just pass it off as acting. Well, this aggressive and alleged unwanted behavior started to make Tisha Campbell very uncomfortable, and some people say she even got a little scared. And I don't know if it scared her enough to tell her husband, Dwayne Martin, about Martin Lawrence's behavior, or maybe she told a mutual friend or something. I'm not sure how Dwayne Martin found out, but allegedly he found out about Martin's behavior towards Tisha on set. And very soon after Dwayne Martin found out about this, Tisha Campbell ended up quitting the show. And we're definitely about to break that down, but right here it's going to split into 2 rumors. The first rumor that we're going to get into is the Dwayne Martin rumor. Basically, the rumor that Dwayne Martin was the reason that Tisha Campbell left the Martin show. So according to this rumor, allegedly, after Dwayne Martin found out about Martin acting like this to his wife Tisha, Dwayne Martin ended up coming to the set of the Martin show. And according to the rumor, he came just to kind of supervise, just to kind of see what was going on. And gossip claims that he didn't like what he saw. And so he made Tisha quit the show, which happened in November of 1996. But not only did Tisha quit the show, 2 months later, she filed a lawsuit against Martin Lawrence and his show, alleging sexual assault. Now, per this Dwayne Martin rumor, people feel like Tisha didn't really want to file the lawsuit, but they claim that Dwayne Martin was the one to convince her to file the lawsuit. Some of these rumors even go so far to claim that Dwayne Martin told Tisha if she didn't sue Martin Lawrence for sexual abuse, that he was just gonna assume that she liked it. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you must have wanted to do it with him, because why are you second guessing suing him? You need to sue him. Now, for the people who claim this rumor, rumor is the way it really happened, they also claim that the real reason that Duane Martin was pushing for Tisha to sue Martin Lawrence was because he just didn't like Martin Lawrence. You know, he was jealous of Martin. And then the fact that Martin was always kind of rubbing his stardom in Duane Martin's face. If this is true, and Duane Martin did force or pressure Tisha in any way to file this lawsuit in order to ruin Martin Lawrence, it did not work at all. In fact, in the long run, this little lawsuit would just be a blip on the career radar of Martin Lawrence. He still made it to the big time. He still made it to be huge. But anyway, that is the Duane Martin ruined everything rumor. Rumor number one. Now let's get into the second rumor of why Tisha Campbell quit the show and filed the lawsuit. So rumor number two says that in 1996, after Tisha Campbell married Duane Martin, she was still on the show, but she was going through all of that harassment that we've already talked about, all of that season 5 harassment. And like I told you before, allegedly Martin was becoming more aggressive and Tisha was becoming afraid. Well, according to this second rumor, Tisha ended up finding out about Martin Lawrence's wife, Patricia Southall, filing a restraining order against Martin, saying that she was afraid of him because Martin had burst into her hotel room where she and their baby girl Jasmine were staying, waving a gun, and that also he had pushed her down and that he had threatened to bust her in the teeth. So like I said, Tisha allegedly found out about this restraining order and it frightened her even more than she already was. And it's claimed that the reason that she was so frightened is because she felt like Martin was so maniacal at this time and so seemingly obsessed with Tisha. He was going to come to the set and be like, see Tisha, look what you did. Look what you made happen. You got me so crazy over you, got me so hyped up, upset about you and Duane that I done went home and treated my own wife bad. It's because of you. Now my family destroyed because of you, because of the way you make me feel. You think I'm gonna just let you and Duane sit up there and have a happy marriage, but you done sat up there and destroyed my marriage? And I know that I just acted that out real well, so let me put a reminder out here. I'm not saying that this is what Martin did. What I'm saying is that allegedly, per this second rumor, this is what Tisha Campbell was afraid of. She was afraid that Martin was going to act like this, that he was going to blame her for that restraining order. And so because she was so afraid, especially when she heard the part that Martin had burst in with a gun, you know, he had a gun in his possession, because she was so afraid of how he may react to her, she ended up quitting the show. Okay, so that's just the story of her quitting the show regarding the second rumor. To continue on to the lawsuit part, allegedly once Tisha quit, Martin started acting crazy and demanding that she come back. He didn't want to hire another actress. He didn't want to write her off the show. He didn't want to do none of that. He was not going to release her from her contract. And so he told Tisha that, but she still wouldn't come back. And that is when Martin got together with the big time execs and producers and he sued Tisha Campbell to get her to come back on the show. And that is when Tisha countersued with the lawsuit alleging harassment and assault, saying that she was not going to return because she was afraid of Martin Lawrence because he had been harassing her. And so that's how the second rumor claims that the firing and the lawsuit came about. But whether the blame Duane Martin first rumor is true or whether the second rumor is true, after Tisha filed her lawsuit, she stayed away from the Martin set. As a matter of fact, she missed episode 120 all the way up through 130. And then after the 130th episode, she and Martin settled the lawsuit. And so Tisha, aka Gina, came back to help Martin them close down the show, which only had 132 episodes total. Now, after the Martin show ended, it seems like Tisha Campbell and Martin Lawrence went their separate ways. And I would love to say that there was no more gossip and scandal surrounding Tisha Campbell, but unfortunately there was. And most of this gossip and scandal came into Tisha's life by way of her now ex-husband, Duane Martin. Now, for what it's worth, it seems like the marriage between Tisha Campbell and Dwayne Martin started off good, started off okay, besides the little Martin hiccup. But apparently, even before Dwayne and Tisha even started talking, he had a very close friendship with actor Will Smith. Now, we may as well go and get as messy and dirty as we're gonna get on this video, because the rumor around Hollywood from that day all the way to today is that Dwayne Martin and Will Smith were actually secret lovers. As a matter of fact, the rumors surrounding their relationship are much like the rumors surrounding Eddie Murphy and Johnny Gill. Now, when it comes down to Dwayne Martin and Will Smith, the rumors about how they would even end up in that position come from the time and the people that they were associating with when they both got their start in Hollywood. Both of them were young, good-looking, up-and-coming Black actors, and both of them allegedly had some sort of type of dealings with a man by the name of Benny Medina. In fact, Benny Medina allegedly got Will Smith his role on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and when it came to Dwayne Martin, it's alleged that Benny Medina was the writer for the movie Dwayne was in called Above the Rim. Now, Benny Medina is alleged to be from a certain people. And these folks already been messing with my channel, so I don't want to go into too much detail. All that I can say is if you do your own research, heck, just type it into Google, the scandals surrounding Benny Medina and Will Smith, and you'll see the type of relationship it's alleged that they had. And so it's claimed that Dwayne Martin, being another young Black actor, was kind of brought into that circle with this older gentleman, Benny Medina, and some of his older friends. And so if it is true, these rumors surrounding Will Smith and Dwayne Martin, it may have been a case where Dwayne Martin and Will Smith got close based on their trauma. You know, maybe they kind of got trauma bonded together. And in their trauma, or pretty much kind of relieving themselves of trauma, maybe some stuff got started between them. All I know is that the rumor has been sweeping those old Hollywood streets for years. But in the early 90s, when it came to the public ears, it was still just whispers. That is until a man who claimed that he was Will Smith's personal assistant wrote a book, and this man's name was Brother Bilal, and Brother Bilal claimed that he actually witnessed Dwayne Martin and Will Smith getting functified and hooting and hollering from ecstasy in an upstairs bedroom. Now, I'm not sure if this is true or not, but I know one question that a lot of people in the public have always asked was who was doing the bending. Baby, I'm not sure. I don't have that information. Now, to move along, due to these rumors regarding Dwayne Martin and Will Smith, people have often dragged their wives into this, with some people even suggesting that Jada and Tisha was a part of this whole thing, basically saying that the couples were swingers, but instead of male and female, it was male and male and female and female. Now, I don't know, but I can say that I can see more of that coming from Jada. She seems more free to me, so I can see that coming from Jada, but I really have a hard time seeing that come from Tisha Campbell. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Tisha Campbell back at that time was full of fun and ready to party hardy and eat off the plate that don't farty. I don't know. But here's the thing. Even if the rumors of Dwayne Martin and Will Smith being actually together aren't true, it is very likely that Dwayne Martin and Will Smith got together to probably mess around with other women while they were married. And I say this because allegedly Dwayne Martin was doing this with another guy as well, Lisa Ray's ex-husband, Michael Misick. Story says Dwayne and Michael were like this, baby, and that they were together all the time. And Dwayne was constantly introducing Michael Misick to other women that he could sleep with. But I'm not going to go into full detail about that because this is not a Dwayne Martin video. It is a Tisha Campbell video. But I had to bring up some of the shenanigans surrounding Dwayne Martin's name because the rumors surrounding those shenanigans directly affected Tisha. And on top of her dealing with the fallout from these scandalous rumors of her husband possibly messing around with another man man or other men, Tisha also had to deal with the very real fact, allegedly the fact that was in her face, that her husband was cheating on her with other women. But even if it was a fact that Dwayne Martin had cheated on her with other women, Tisha loved her husband, and so they decided to work through it. As a matter of fact, anytime the couple had a public appearance, they were all smiles. They also ended up having 2 beautiful sons. Anytime Tisha was asked about Dwayne, she spoke very highly of her husband. But the messy gossip says that Tisha was behaving this way because she had on rose-colored glasses when it came to Dwayne. Allegedly, she loved him so much, she excused everything that he was doing to her. But the folks say this phase started to crumble a little bit starting in the year 2014. Allegedly, around this time, Tisha started to resent her husband a little bit. And there were several different reasons in the rumor mill, but the most prominent reasons for resentment, they claim, was Tisha resented Dwayne because she felt like he stalled her career a little bit. Another prominent reason is they allege that Tisha also resented that she somehow ended up as the breadwinner. I guess they were trying to say that Tisha felt that some of the choices that she had made in her career for Dwayne, he wanted her to make these choices. She made them because she thought he was going to be bigger and better than what he was. She thought she was going to be able to fall back on him. And if that is true, and also if that first rumor about Dwayne Martin messing everything up on the Martin show, if that's true as well, then I most definitely feel like Tisha might have had some resentment over that. Because let's be real, after those shenanigans involving the Martin show, Tisha's career did stall a little bit. And I am not surprised at all. We're talking about Hollywood in the early 90s. This was a Hollywood before the Me Too movement. Baby, the casting couch was in full effect. There was secret touching and rubbing and secret liaisons all over the place. And so if majority, if not all, of the big directors, producers, and executives and stuff, if they all operate this way, you think they gonna hire a doggone actress that's suing over this type of behavior? Absolutely not. They want her as far away from their sets as she can be, because now they're looking at her like a liability. So again, if we're going with the first rumor, and it is true that Tisha really didn't want to sue Martin in the first place, but Dwayne Martin kind of pushed her to do it, then all of these years later, yes, I'm sure she would resent Dwayne Martin, because it's very possible she could have been a much bigger actress than what she was. And so now, going back to these 2 prominent reasons for resenting Dwayne Martin, Tisha has been put in a terrible place. You're resenting your husband for making you the breadwinner, and then you're resenting him even more because you can't even be the best breadwinner you can be because allegedly he has messed that up too. And so, like I said, around 2014, allegedly, Tisha Campbell began to feel this way. And Tisha, who was said to be upset, allegedly started to become very vocal. And she was talking about the missed chances, you know what I'm saying? The missed opportunities, things that she had to put on the back burner because she had to make sure she was able to take care of her family. And allegedly one of those things that she brought up was a music career. Because according to rumor, that is one of the things that Tisha always wanted to do. As a matter of fact, for a short period of time, around 1992-ish, 1993-ish, she was in the music industry. She had a video, she had released an album, but she shelved it due to the success of the Martin show. When she got done with the Martin show, allegedly Tisha wanted to go back into the music industry, but because after a few years, her and Dwayne's finances got shaky, she had to pull away from that and start trying to find any role that she could. And so all of those years back, she never could really pursue her passion like she wanted to. Well, now we're in this 2014 era where Tisha is like, you know what? We finna make some changes around here. I'm finna do me. And so she starts working on her music with her actually releasing a song and a video called Lazy Bitch in the year 2016. And per Tisha, well, no, scratch that, because I don't know if she said this out of her mouth. Per Tisha's diehard fans, this song and this video was just her kind of testing the waters. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't meant to be taken super seriously, but these same fans claim that the next year in 2017, this was Tisha's real work. And that was her song Still Here, for which she also released a music video. And the song Still Here was supposed to be a testament to Tisha's strength and resilience as a woman. You know, no matter how many shots that the world threw at her, she's still standing. But sadly, the song Still Here wasn't received that well, with most people choosing to focus on Tisha's fashion sense and her hair instead of focusing on the message she was trying to bring about. And I'm not sure if the public's response to her song Still Here broke Tisha down or motivated her. But I do know that rumors claim that Duane Martin allegedly started hiding their money from Tisha. Story says that he didn't really like her music career, and he didn't like the way she was spending money trying to fund it, you know, when he felt like she really wasn't getting a good return on her investment. Now, this right here was said to have angered Tisha Campbell to no end. And so that next year in 2018, Tisha Campbell filed for a divorce. And right from the start, things were messy, honey, with Duane Martin coming out in public and saying that he felt like Tisha had mental problems. You know, she was mentally ill. She needs some help. And to me, that's very messy because Duane Martin knew that recently people had been questioning Tisha's style. You know what I'm saying? Had been questioning her hair choices. Like I told you, hair choices, outfit choices, and all that kind of stuff. And so, you know, the divorce was off to a rocky start. Things were already getting kind of messy. But while Duane was doing and saying what he was doing, Tisha was just holding her peace and she was chilling because she was working on something. And the something that she was working on was her song, 22 Summers. That was all she needed, baby, because in my opinion, her song 22 Summers was the best song that she had ever sang in her entire career. It was what her last song, Still Here, should have been. You see, in her song Still Here, Tisha was trying to portray that she was strong and still standing and unbreakable, but it wasn't raw and it wasn't real, because she was making it seem like she was standing against what the world was doing to her. But in that doggone 22 Summers, Tisha Campbell let it all hang out. Wasn't no dancing like she did in the video on Still Here. Wasn't no fake tears streaming down her face like she did on Still Here. No, it was Tisha standing there telling her story. And to me, it was a spectacular song, and I wish she had released that song first instead of Still Here. But to continue with the story, in the year 2020, the divorce was finalized between Duane Martin and Tisha Campbell. Tisha Campbell has been pressing forward and she has been shining since then, and also a very funny thing happened. After filing for a divorce from her husband Duane Martin, Tisha slowly but surely started to gravitate back to the whole cast of Martin, namely Martin Lawrence himself. And I mean, they're probably not the best of friends, and I'm sure they don't talk every day, or at least as far as my knowledge, I don't think they talk every day, but they are very cordial to each other, and they don't seem to hold any grudges against each other anymore. And so, of course, Martin Lawrence's fans especially love to say that, see, this proves it. This proves that Duane Martin was the reason. It's all his fault. But child, that really don't prove much of nothing. As of the year 2025, Tisha Campbell is doing well. You know, she's got her own stand-up comedy special. Her two handsome sons, she spends a lot of time with them. You know, she's just pushing through. She's morphing like a butterfly into many different things to adapt. She is a survivor, honey, living her life to the best of her ability. She ain't Gina. She is Tisha. And so, Miss Tisha, go ahead and do your thing, girl. And so this is the end of the old Hollywood scandalous tale of Miss Tisha Campbell. If you guys like the video, please like the video. If you guys are new here, please subscribe. If you guys have been here for the longest, please subscribe. I will be back with another video soon. Bye.